Hey, what's up guys, Riff here. So today we're going to do another round of topic parkour, quickly covering various topics that I don't want to slip through the cracks as we deal with the usual giant load of potential video topics that we've been covering recently. So let's begin with an update on Johnny Somali. So Johnny Somali has been dealing with a lot over the past couple of weeks in Korea, and now he is facing up to 10 years in jail. Now you can see the enthusiasm behind Johnny Somali's downfall, right? This tweet from Dexerto covering this has over 300,000 likes, nearly 22 million views in just one day. Now, of course, the most recent updates about Johnny I covered in my previous video from a few days ago. Essentially, he's been in South Korea for a couple of weeks, and he's been doing his normal nuisance streaming, but he crossed the line into basically way further than he ever thought he could have when he started going around and groping and kissing comfort women's statues. That caused a lot of Korean streamers to get very upset, track him down, basically rough him up every time he goes outside, eventually getting so bad Johnny Somali wants to leave the country. He is prohibited from doing so by the police because they're investigating him for multiple charges we'll talk about in just a second. And then he's basically forced into hiding, but then makes the mistake of challenging these streamers to come and find him, and within 24 hours, they come and find him, and one streamer in particular hits him in the face as he's leaving the place he was staying, and he's bloodied and dazed from it, and really at that point, Johnny Somali is running scared. And things get even worse when you start looking at the specific charges that he is facing right now and how serious Korea takes, in particular, drug-related offenses. Even I didn't know this. So South Korea is very strict when it comes to drug use. Possession or use of illegal drugs can result in a sentence of up to 10 years in jail and up to a fine of around 72,000 US dollars. Meanwhile, assaults, the other charges, can carry a maximum penalty of 2 years or around $3,500 fine. So, of all the shenanigans he's been doing and the social backlash and even the beatings he's been taking, I would worry a lot less about that if I was Johnny Somali than those drug-related charges. That is not for redistribution of drugs. It's not selling drugs. It's just simple possession or use. And if he is caught with that, he is facing a very, very strict sentence. And since our last video covering Johnny Somali, his latest Twitter account has been suspended. I believe this is like his third or fourth account. And also his second and even I think third YouTube channels have been banned as well. And also with Kick, his original platform, he's been banned from there for over a year at this point and clearly is not coming back. So he's in a desperate situation. I think he's doing everything he can to try to fix the mess he's facing in South Korea, and this is the step right here. Translated, of course, so it appears that Johnny Somali and Hank Yu, one of his friends he was causing havoc with, have apologized for the comfort women statue situation. And he shaved his face and tried to basically play up that he's really sorry for everything that happens, and on the related video, he tries to act like he didn't understand the significance of what he was doing. And you can see he was in the car and going around town and visiting these comfort women statues with several of the YouTubers, streamers, and alike from Korea who were not only criticizing him, but also hunting him down and trying to jump him. So this is a very interesting situation. You can see this is the YouTube video posted today where we're seeing these interactions where he's getting a much more welcoming presence here, and it seems like they're trying to reconcile something here, and whether or not they believe him, it's kind of hard to tell, especially with language barriers. But the top comment on this video is pinned by the uploader where it says, translated of course, "Dear Korean people, please do not accept or believe Johnny's apology. He is not sincere in his apology. He did the same thing in Japan. Johnny apologized and left for Bali. As soon as he arrived in Bali, he gossiped about the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki," which I do remember the source I had for that back in the day. They've been DMCA'd by likely Johnny Somali, but he immediately, upon entering Bali, just started saying, I'm not sorry for anything that happened in Japan. And he started saying the Hiroshima and Nagasaki stuff again. So clearly when he apologizes, he's lying through his teeth, and people are making sure that these Korean streamers trying to work things out or reconcile things with him are aware that he lies through his teeth at any given moment to try to save himself, because he is in a terrible situation, and obviously the laws in Korea seem to be much more harsh than Japan. That's the big criticism of the Japanese law enforcement, who gave him what many would consider a very light sentence for all of the crap he did while he was in Japan, but in Korea, not so much. He's facing some very serious legal penalties, and also, as we've seen, pretty much anytime he goes outside, he's facing getting jumped by many different people. So let's move on to the next topic of this video. So here's the headline from That Park Place saying, Take-Two Interactive CEO admits Borderlands movie box office was disappointing, but reveals it sold more catalog. So if you're not familiar with this movie or you didn't see it based on this franchise here, this was an absolute disaster. This was one of the biggest flops in the box office in some recent memory, and it left a lot of people very disappointed and questioning why this was even created in the first place. And as soon as it came out, the CEO was seeing the very negative reception of this and basically said, please give this film a chance, literally begging people to go out and see this film because the results of it were absolutely abysmal. So the film eventually went into the box office and grossed $15.4 million domestically and another $17.4 internationally for a total gross of about $33 million, and it was reported that the budget was $115 million, and if you know anything about how films work nowadays, you have to basically multiply that budget by several percentage points, and the real budget was around $300 million in order to break even for this film, and obviously, as you can see, it wasn't even close. But the justification here from the CEO is that it kind of brought more attention to the franchise generally. I don't know if it was worth well over $100 million loss, but anyways, I guess that's just the copium for now. But in 2024, this has been the year of the flop in the video game industry as well. We've seen some big and beloved franchises do very, very poorly. However, despite those flops, we have some successful games getting a sequel, and that is Hogwarts Legacy. So it's been announced a while ago that this game was going to be getting a sequel. However, it has now been announced by Warner Bros. That it is in production, and it's a high priority within the company. So this is some pretty big news. This game was a monumental success back in 2023. And of course, you must be aware of the harassment campaign surrounding this game, where people believe playing this game made you a transphobe because it's an IP that belongs to J.K. Rowling, who they believe is a transphobe, and they, for some reason, even though there's not evidence to suggest, they believe sales of this game would support her in whatever agenda they believe she was having. And this led to a harassment campaign where streamers, gamers, and even VTubers were harassed and barraged with insults and ridiculous slander just because they dared to play this game, which apparently a lot of people play because this game sold over 30 million units and generated over $1 billion. So this was a massive success that probably would not have had as much success if it wasn't for the people screeching about it on social media and giving it free promotion. But as you can see, Warner Bros. Is acknowledging that, and they're aware of that, and they're doing everything in their power to make this a priority in terms of its production and get it out quickly. And on top of that, the only real concern that people like me have is whether or not this is going to be a live service game. That was rumored back a few months ago that they're going to make this sequel a live service game, which would be an absolute travesty, especially knowing Warner Bros. Because they're the company who helped produce Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, which was a live service game, and that was a massive financial loss for them. So why would they take something that actually succeeded, like the original Hogwarts Legacy game, and then make it into a live service for the sequel? If that is true, if that's the route they go, that is mind-boggling and a terrible choice. Now let's move on to some more gaming-related news. So it appears that many games journalists are having a breakdown on social media, even more than normal ever since the election results. And Alyssa Mercante from Kotaku has been very upset, targeting Melanie Mack here, saying, "We knew more than half of the country has brain worms and black hearts, but they want to remind us. Come to New York and say that to my face, baby girl." So essentially challenging her to a real-life confrontation, which is very odd, especially given the fact that Alyssa is someone who is currently, or at least alleging that she's filing a lawsuit against the YouTuber Smash JT for defamation and bullying her and all these things. But here she is on social media actively inviting fights with people, which she's done before, and those fights and those challenges have been accepted by YouTubers like Vera Dark, who then Alyssa made basically impossible terms to work with in order for the fight to happen. But yeah, this is very bizarre for someone who's saying all this, and Melanie Mack would respond basically saying she got challenged by a hobbit and she would have to literally punch down because Alyssa Mercante is 5'2", but she would go on to say that she has no interest in actually fighting her. And honestly, that's the smart decision. Why would you give someone like this the time of day? It's crazy behavior. Like, oh, I don't like what you say online, I'm going to fight you in real life. It's really childish, and this is the kind of behavior that games journalists try to portray gamers as, when in reality, it's just projection with them as always. Let's move on to the next topic. So you guys probably know Taiga. We've talked about him on this channel recently and the drama he's dealt with Nuxtaku, and also the very sad reality of his YouTube channel and also several Twitter accounts that have been either unfairly or suspiciously banned and without any sort of remedy at this point. And it appears that he is facing another round of ridiculous harassment where someone basically made a impersonation account trying to take his name and then was going around and saying some very disgusting things and trying to portray themselves as the official new channel for Taiga, when clearly it was not. And this is frustrating because Taiga would have to raise a lot of attention on Twitter just to get this addressed. Meanwhile, fan-related channels that are just uploading clips of his streams and things like that from Twitch are getting banned left and right. But this person has to get an immense level of attention from social media for anything to happen to their account where they're maliciously trying to defame Taiga. Now, of course, what's even more frustrating is the fact that they are banned on YouTube. It makes it really hard to report these things for impersonation or anything like that because their main channel doesn't exist. So this person is getting away with it, or at least they were. And of course, we had some good results for once. It appears from my angle here that this channel has been taken down, which was the right move. But the fact that it took so much mobilization for this to happen is really annoying, and just another example of the YouTube system being broken in many different ways. But here's one more story I want to cover for today. So there's been a lot of drama on Twitch. So basically, there is this whole push about what constitutes extreme content or extreme comments that could get you in trouble. This is in the wake of the Asmongold ban, and in wake of that, people have been saying, well, what about these other people who are saying really extreme stuff or doing extreme stuff, like Hassan Piker, for example. That's the main example people use for all of his crazy comments, platforming terrorists, showing terrorist propaganda on stream, things like that. And there's been absolute silence from Twitch. However, they decided in their infinite wisdom to add a content classification label and adding a new content category focused on politics and debated issues. And this comes after a lot of people, including some US officials and advertisers, allegedly trying to go after Twitch and ask them, why are you allowing content like that to exist on your platform, referring to some of the extreme comments made by people like Hassan Piker. And if you look at this category, it's even more ridiculous because you don't even have to label your streams that. It says verbatim. We want to make it clear that you don't need to label your stream if you're talking about your lived experience, whatever that means. And shocker, none of the people who are being targeted by this rule are using it. And why would they? Because it's only going to restrict their content or the potential advertisers that might show up on their stream. So another weird move by Twitch. But for now, that is the latest round of topic parkour. Lots of topics. So as always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.